And all right, you should be able to. Yeah. Tell them I had to start a new stream. We should be streaming. We should be live at this point.
Nope.
No, I don't know. We have to go to their channel. Go to the channel, and we should be live. And we are live. We're good. We're on. You and I are on.
Except I don't see us. So let me try and refresh. Nope.
No. You got to go to a different. It's not going to be with that link. It's. I had to create a new broadcast, so you have to just go to the channel and find us. But all right, so Steve is here. Unfreaking believable. The welcome for the one person that's managed to find us.
Well, it's not working for me, bro.
You got to go. It's not going to work with that link. You have to go to the channel itself. We're live.
Yeah.
And then you'll see the live broadcast. It's not going to work through the link that I had set up. So
it just said, oh, hold on.
Right. Yeah, you have to go to the new stream. Steve, you and I will talk about it. You wouldn't believe. We'll talk about it afterwards. We're here. We're live.
Okay.
This is the second time this has happened to me where I've done all the tests, gotten it all set up, and when the OBS software would not let me transition to the stream I had created yesterday. Whatever it needed to do, it wouldn't do it. So I created a new broadcast, and we're here. We're good. I've got the stream over here, and Raven's here. Bubba Brewski's in the house. Steve's in the house. Sheila's here. Hi, Mom. Everybody's here. So we've managed to kind of pull this off. I can't believe it. Only took a few curse words. You know.
Okay, I'm delayed. Steve? How do I get it live? I hit the live thing.
Well, you're going to be delayed because you're seeing us on Zoom, and then it's going to take a few seconds for it to hit the live stream. So,
okay.
All right. I says it's 69 degrees out, right? Oh man, what do we got here? 70, or actually 70 here, but it's very, very humid. It's been raining all day, man.
90 here.
Is it 90? Jeez. That's and humid, right? 90 plus the VIG. All right, Stu, so let them know what we're here for while I get this other laptop situated. Pull it closer to me.
All right, Pip. Want to talk Panthers? Answer questions. This is our first live stream. It's pretty cool. And welcome, everybody. I see some familiar names. And I see some new names. Hey, Frankie.
Hey, Frank. How you doing, bud?
Steve, Raven.
And the first question is a football question, which is gonna decapitate Stu. Who's my favorite Patriots player?
Raven did that on purpose.
I know.
Can I curse?
I don't remember. I don't know any of the Patriots players' names. I don't know any of them at this point. They don't exist in my mind. Not until
I don't follow football. Sergei Bobrovsky, do you guys have any ideas about the new draft picks? None.
They all look like they're 10 years old. I mean, seriously. I got kids. Well, I do have kids older than them, but they look so young. Now, we did get a goalie. Did you see that, Stu?
I did.
Yeah, we did get a goalie. I saw the Zito press conference, and he said that Luongo and the guys were really excited to get him and excited to work with them. So, because remember, we had gotten Levi, and then we got rid of Levi, so I don't really know what our situation was in terms of having a young goaltender to work with the exception of Spencer Knight. So
you got to remember, these guys, I don't know, they said one guy might be ready, but my thinking is, 2-3 years.
Right. Yeah. So Eyes wants to know, should we buy out Horny if we can't trade him?
My feelings about Hornquist.
Yeah.
I just, I love Hornquist's leadership.
I
I don't know. I don't want to just give him up for nothing.
Right. Well, that's it. What are we going to? What player can we sign with that money? Like, if it makes the difference between we can keep Marchment or not, we don't like it, but we already know there's going to be stuff we don't like this year. You know what I mean?
I think there'll be a big hole if he's
Yeah.
not there this coming season. That's
Right.
all. But
Right.
give him one more season, and then he's at the end of his contract.
Yeah, and
That's my opinion.
I'm not overly concerned. The one thing I don't want to do is lose Hornquist to re-sign Giroux. I think that would be a monumental mistake. So, and Steve wants to know, where was Horny's leadership when we put up 3 goals in 4 games against Tampa?
Well, he should have been right in front of the net on the 1 for 26 power play. That's on Burnett. Sorry.
Right. Hey, Tom, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. And then it's Raven. Right. Oh, you're talking about the Bruins got a new head coach, right? Jim Montgomery, but you still miss Bruce, right? Boston's on that edge, man. You know what I mean? Boston's going to be on that edge of like somebody said. I believe it was about the Capitals. Like they're desperately trying to keep that window open. They're desperately trying to keep that window open.
Hey, let me go back to Steve, Eric.
Sure.
In answer to the where was Hornership's leadership? Hey, where was Barkov? Where was Huberdeau? Where was Ekblad? Those are the core leaders of the team. Okay?
Right. And Marchment wasn't even on the ice, you know? And look, I mean, in hindsight, it sucks that we got swept. But let's it's not like we got blown out. It's not like the games weren't overwhelmingly, for the most part, close. And I mean, there's only so many tweaks we're going to be able to make. And I've been on the record, and I know it's not going to happen, extending Hornquist and making him the captain. This team needs some kind of true veteran leadership that's going to pick up things in those moments. And, with Hornquist being a fourth liner, sometimes it's difficult. You're not on the ice as much, especially Brunette wasn't really, he was not really rolling the lines there against Tampa. We kind of butchered things down to a top 9, Steve says, where's Bud the monkey not showing? Alex might be busy, right? Let's see. Frank says he'd rather have Giroux for $5 million than Hornquist for $5 million.
Okay. That's something to think about. But we don't just let him go. He's got a year left, so that means a trade. Who do we get in return? We got to get a guy that's $1.5 million or whatever. You got to get a young player that, Zito's got to find another, Forsling.
Right.
He's got to find another Verhaeghe. So.
And I'm reading, Tom says, if Horny goes, who do we think should be the captain? Don't think Barkov is a true leader. Ekblad.
Ekblad.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I said it before Barkov even got to see Ekblad should have been the captain.
Right. Bubba Brewski says,
we need a guy that's vocal on the ice that will, challenge the referees. Barkov is timid. I love the guy, but he's just a quiet, timid player. Not timid. He's a quiet player. He's not demonstrative and vocal.
Right.
We needed a guy that's gonna. I think even Giroux was screaming at the refs at one point.
It just amazes me looking back with the possibilities that we had. I mean, it's like, what was anybody thinking that was that Bugner? Was it Bugner that gave him the C? When was that? Or was that at the? Well, no, it might have been.
I think that was 2016 or 17.
Was it Gallant? Because we all thought Branson was going to be the captain. when Mitchell left, right? We all thought Branson was a captain in the make. No, it was Derek McKenzie, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So then I believe, if somebody can tell me in the chat, I believe it was Bugner, right? Why I have so many pop-ups coming up on this laptop. All right, let's see. Guitar Crow. Is that Guitar Crow? Yeah. For this is a question for you. It says, say the Panthers win the Stanley Cup at FLL Live Arena. What are your must-do priorities right after the game ends?
What do you mean?
In other words, if you're there at the game and the Panthers win the cup at the home arena, what are you doing right after the game?
Well, supposedly I'm going to be on the ice, but that's something I'll have to take up with. I don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
That was a deal that I had made some years back. Somehow, some way, I'm going to get my hands on the cup.
One bad Steve says Mackenzie Weegar should be the captain. I'll let you handle that. I'll let Stu handle that.
Yeah, Steve put that post up there just for me.
Steve said, "Are they changing the arena name in like a month? Are they? Did they get a sponsor yet?
Not that I know of.
I heard it was going to be Flying Fluffy Park. I mean that was the rumor I heard that I started. The puppets told me though, so it must be true." And Steve wants to know who would be the captain then when Ekblad's on IR for 3 out of 4 months next season.
Raven. Stu, you better head to Boston if you ever want to touch the cup. Well, Mr. Raven, I worked for the Islanders, and I touched the cup many times, drank from the cup in the locker room.
And Mike says anyone talking cup sounds ridiculous. We just made it to round 2 and barely.
Yeah.
I mean, technically that's accurate, and then also technically, every time these teams win, because Tampa Bay won the President's Trophy and then got knocked out, and then they won the Cup, and
Washington waited so many years,
right?
LA Kings,
right?
Okay, so
and Colorado, right?
St. Louis,
yeah,
never won the Cup. So relatively speaking, hasn't been that long. But what are we here for? We got to dream.
Exactly.
We got to hope. We had the best record, one of the best records in history. I mean, listen, we choked in the playoffs. Maybe 2 years in a row, yeah. we learn our lesson. I just don't know and can't predict what's going to happen.
No,
so
and
if I'm the Panthers, I go into the season with a big chip on my shoulder.
I tell you, it's a long way back. I mean, we're kind of taken for granted, that we'll be back in the playoffs and everything. But shit happens too. I mean, look at the Islanders, right? I mean, hell, I picked the Islanders to make it. I think I picked them to win in my season preview. We had no idea that they were just gonna, the bottom was gonna fall out on them. I see you, Shaco and Steve. I see you. Raven says, Jaws, will the streams be each Saturday? We haven't talked about that. I don't know about every single Saturday. It's possible. During the off season anyway, obviously during the regular season that might change and everything. We wanted to get this one out of the way because the technical issues, at least we've got it up and we've got that fixed. Now what I have to do is I have to figure out why I couldn't transition the OBS to go to the broadcast I had already set up that everybody was there waiting on. I had it all set up, and when I clicked the button, it kept giving me some error message that I'd never heard before. So
we'll definitely do a stream if some big news happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a video, but this is our first time. So
yeah, as soon as Bob and Weegar, as soon as it's announced that they're on the way to Edmonton, trust me, I will be there. I will be there. Shaco, you're funny, man. Bubba says Shaco's man. What did Bubba says FLA Live Arena already has the home opener graphic on the electronic sign outside. Yeah, I don't think we found a sponsor. The Panthers, I think if they found a sponsor, we'd have known about it because they're heavy in the advertising that kind of positive stuff. If it's something positive, we'll know about it, right?
I really thought it was going to be Live Nation, but
Yeah, yeah. So, couple of questions. Nerful says thoughts on starting the season on a 3-game road trip. The only real thought I have about the schedule so far is the number 5. And that number 5 is how many times the Panthers and Dolphins play on the same day.
yeah.
That's I'm beside myself about that. We usually
Well,
kind of
I'll answer that question.
Yeah,
It's
go
better
ahead.
than
Sure,
better
sure.
than playing overseas, which we
Ugh.
did some years back.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good point. That's a good point. I'm not necessarily. I mean, the road games to start the season. The good thing is that we don't have a. I think the longest road trip is like 6 games. So we don't have any crazy like this year. We had that ridiculous like 11 game road trip that was broken up with the break in the middle. Guitarco says name something I broke out of frustration because the Panthers or during the game or after. I've never broken anything, but Matthias, when he was really struggling, he would predict if we were going to win or we're going to lose. And he'd be pissed off if he got it wrong. And one day he predicted we were going to lose and we won and he kicked a giant hole in the wall. That's a true story. And he kicked a hole in the wall and then I still walked downstairs and did the recap, right? Jocko, I know it's a joke. Raven,
Mike's got a good question.
okay, where are we? Oh, thoughts on
Let,
the 3-game.
no, let's talk power play.
Oh, okay. Well, you read it because it must have been
Guitarco,
above.
I didn't break anything.
Right.
I just was pissed off for the whole night. Didn't talk to anybody except you, Eric.
Yeah.
So who's the QB? Who's the half wall threat? Who's in the bumper? And how do we make this power play completely different overall? It was our undoing in the playoffs. I agree. I don't think Ekblad should be the QB. I like Montour. I like Forsling.
I think Reinhardt should be the bumper.
Yeah. Half wall threat. Well, I don't know. Here's my thing. I think Ekblad should be, if we're going to use the same players,
Right.
Ekblad should be in the Ovi Stamkos position for
Right.
his one timer.
Right. Duclair.
Huberdeau should be on the other side. Reinhardt or Hornquist should be in front of the net.
Right.
And then you got Montour, Forsling, and Bennett. Is that 5?
I think that was 6.
Okay.
I think I like Ekblad over in that spot, like you said, over here to the right, either Duclair, Barkov, whoever's hot, whoever's going to shoot the puck, and then Hornquist in front, Reinhardt as the bumper, and then Montour, Forsling. I don't run Ekblad running it like you because we want him in that spot. Just no anybody but Barkov running it. Anybody but Barkov.
Right.
Okay, put Spencer Knight out there running it. He's just Barkov's just too slow with the puck movement. He just doesn't have it. Whatever the it is to run a power play, he just doesn't have it.
Barkov can be in the middle. I call it the 5 of spades. You got the 4 guys on the outside, but
right. Well, look, we don't. Who
it's
knows?
just frustrating.
Go ahead.
It's frustrating because we had such talented dynamite players that I just think they didn't move it around quick enough. They didn't know what they were doing. Everybody was hesitant. Huberdeau, so many times he had shots that he passed up on.
Yes.
The whole thing on the power play is to just keep shooting because you never know. Look at Sergachev.
Right.
threw a couple of pucks on net, and they found a way to get in, either a tip in, a rebound. But you got to have at least five, six, 7 shots on goal during a power play. And you got to get it in the zone. I think one of the things that Tampa did really well against us was lining up at the blue line and not letting us get set up. So all we could do is throw it in the corner, but we lost board battles, which we won in the regular season. So
Right.
again, very frustrating. But yeah, I think that was our undoing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is that we were so busy focusing on 0 for this and 1 for that, that I mean we were drawing penalties. It wasn't like we weren't drawing penalties. We had our fair share of power plays, so it just makes it doubly frustrating.
Yeah.
So Mike says Huberdeau and Barkov should be on the opposite units. They both pass first, and neither can decide to shoot. Both slow the pace down too much when they're on the ice together, and in different ways too. Because Huberdeau will get that spot in the shot in the space where he should shoot, and on a rare occasion he will shoot quickly. But usually it's that little thing where he just circles around and circles around, and it's just absolutely maddening. And with Barkov, he'll get the puck and he'll just stand there with the puck and just wait for so he just stands still. So I agree that they go ahead.
Yeah, you can't do that. You got to keep it moving.
Right.
That was the beauty of Tampa. By the way, our PK wasn't the greatest either. I mean, Tampa has a great power play, and you can see how quick they move it around. And that gets the goalie crazy going back and forth.
Well, between Marchment being out and Lundell, I guess running out of gas or just not being ready for the playoff hockey. I mean, especially a big part of that penalty kill during the season was Barkov and Lundell together.
Correct.
And so that's okay. Him being a rookie, I have no concerns with him struggling like that in the playoffs. That's you kind of have to expect that, and I guess we probably should have thought about that during the season. But Brunette could have made he could have made a different move. I mean, we did get Claude Giroux. You could have put Drew at 3C and let Lundell play a little bit of wing just to take some of the pressure off. There were moves that could have been made to just but the only thing he really basically did was just juggle around the top 6. Like playing Yahtzee. It's like just
we talked about that. I agree. Things weren't working. Lundell, I think, was still hurt. Came back too soon.
Right.
But Giroux is a natural center, and that's where he should have been.
Right.
And maybe, listen, as far as the power play goes, maybe you take a couple of players from the second unit and switch them around.
Right. Well, right.
I think at some points the second unit was better than the first unit.
Well, that whole thing happened where, when Ekblad got hurt and Drew came in, and then it just all got obliterated, right? And Steve's got the bots here, guys. I don't know if they're bots or not, but I don't know what the hell's going on there. Like Bubba says.
Oh, here's a good question, and it relates. Eric, I just spoke to you about this 2 days ago. Stu, most scary on or off ice incident you've seen at a Panther game? And it was an away game. Richard Zednev in Buffalo got cut in the neck with a skate. Yep. And if they hadn't acted quickly, it was the jugular.
Yeah.
And it was horrifying. It's on YouTube if you want to, watch it, but you really can't watch it because it's...
No.
When they show the slow motion replay and then you see that trail of blood, I mean, he died. And I think that was the end of his career.
Well, he didn't die. I mean, but he never came.
I mean, he would have died.
Oh, I see what, yeah.
If they hadn't acted quickly.
Right.
You could see the trainers, but then they grabbed somebody from the stands who was a doctor.
Right. Nerfel says, how about trading Bennett and Hornquist and playing Giroux at 2C? Well,
wait, I missed that.
It's the last. It's at the last one.
Hornquist and Uyghur plus Klingberg as our power play quarterback. I like that. I don't think Dallas is going to give him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'd also like to see another player coming back from Dallas. But
Right.
yeah, I would do that trade.
Right. So when Nerful asked about trading Bennett and Hornquist and then playing Giroux at 2C, I was actually talking with Alex Puck Monkey about that off camera yesterday. It might have been done on camera. I don't remember. But we were kind of talking about things with like Lundell, and like eventually Lundell's not going to be your 3C. Eventually you're going to want to move him up, but we got Bennett there sitting right there.
I don't trade Bennett. You kidding? He was one of our top 3 players all
Right.
year. I think there's a big question mark with Duclair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we got to see.
I don't think Giroux and Barkov, the Huberdeau, Barkov, Giroux line should have been dynamite. And I don't think, and maybe it was they didn't have enough games played together, but I didn't see the chemistry. But the bottom line is, are we going to have the money to sign Giroux? I think he
Right.
would want to come back one more year. Yeah. Steve, the only thing that sucks is that Bennett is kind of on a friendly contract.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Raven wants to know one last question before he has to go. Who's the better mod? Oh, I can't. I'll let Stu answer that question. Who's the better?
Oh, by the way, Steve, I'm delayed for some reason, as I always am, on YouTube. I mean, Eric and I are on Zoom, so
Right.
so forgive me.
Yeah, no, I'm a couple seconds behind too because it just takes it. There's always going to be that little bit of a delay.
The next question I have: Vezina Bob cannot be Vezina Bob without power. Does that mean what? Power play?
Maybe, not sure. Eyes wants to know when they'll put Duclair on IR. They haven't done it yet. You would assume that they would. I don't know. There must be some kind of contractual reason that they haven't done it yet.
Oh yeah, you're all the way at the bottom. I'm missing some stuff here.
Mine is
Klingberg is a UFA on Wednesday. Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Well,
Klingberg didn't want to stay in Dallas, but we have to clean up some cap space, of course.
Well, that's the thing. There's just no space. Literally, I think we're at like less than 1 million left. We have enough guys to field the hockey team, and that's about it. But I don't have a good feeling about Marchment, man. It would really suck to lose him too because he has that mad chemistry with Lundell. You hate to lose him.
And Reinhardt.
Right.
That line was so good before Marchment got hurt the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm right. I'm right after that. Mike, thoughts on the video clip of the player's reaction to scoring a power play goal? I don't take much from those types of things, but that was embarrassingly cringeworthy. I agree 100%.
Yeah, and that was the only goal we scored that game too. Well, like there were any games we scored more than one.
Steve, I'm on my laptop.
Yeah, I'm on 2 laptops, and I still managed to not be able to get it going right at the beginning of the stream. So Nerful says teams are allowed to be 10% over the cap in the preseason. Right. Okay, so during the preseason. Nerful says biggest question, Drew or Marchment? If I'd really prefer Marchment. If Marchment's head checks out and he's healthy, because we saw what Marchment meant to this team. With Giroux, let's just be honest. It wasn't good chemistry with anybody. And so we're just assuming that if he came back and had a preseason and camp with them, that it would be better. And it might be. But with Marchment, we already know he's a proven quality. And he brings what we need. Marchment brings what this team lacks. With Giroux, he's kind of really a luxury when you think about what he brings. Especially in terms of offensive play. He's not getting any younger. He's not going to go crashing into the boards and play that hard, tough style like a Marchment does. If Marchment's healthy, and he's obviously going to be cheaper too. So
The
I
only
would like.
thing
Go
is,
ahead.
the only question for me is Marchment being damaged goods. You know, the head injuries, 2 in 1 season, but Ekblad had the same thing. But look how Ekblad's game has changed.
Right.
He's really hesitant to go in the corners
Yeah.
when he's chasing the puck.
Yeah. Completely different guy.
He
Yeah.
can't afford to get another,
Right.
hit to the head.
Right. Now David has a good question. He wants
Oh
to
wait,
know.
what about Wild and Crazy Guy? I
All
really
right.
like
Go ahead.
Lindholm.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
I liked Lindholm also for his, toughness, but he had a few games there, and I don't. I wasn't impressed, and maybe he should have gotten a shot. Uyghur should have been benched at least a couple of games during the playoffs.
Right.
So
So what Dave wanted to know was, were we surprised that Zito didn't unload any, was unable to unload salary so far? I don't think he just wants to give guys away. I mean, now look, I fully believe that they investigated every possibility with Bobrovsky, and I don't think they would have done that. This is my opinion. I think they went to Bob. Maybe he gave him a list of teams. Maybe it could work something out. I'm guessing, but at the end of the day, unless you're going to do what I've been suggesting, where you're just throwing in Mackenzie Weegar as a bonus, the other team's going to want us to eat half the cap. And I believe that before, again, just my opinion, I believe before Zito would eat half of Bobrovsky's salary, that he would consider how can he dump Hornquist's salary, because then at that point it would save us almost the same amount of money, and we'd still have two goalies instead of one.
You know what I've said about Bob. He's not going anywhere.
Right. Let's see. Nerfel says it's been reported that Marchment wants to come back and will try working with the Panthers to take less, but it'll probably mean a 1 to 2 year bridge deal. I'm all for that. I was saying during the season I thought he'd be good for 3 times 3. I've seen people now thinking 4 times 4. I mean, you can't give a graduated. You can give them, 2 this year and then 3.5 and then 4. You can't do that, because this is the 1 year that we really have the issues. But
I think it would be a 3-year deal based on the deals that Zito did last year with Forsling and Duclair, and so
right. Frank, I see that about you saying if Ekblad gets injured again, don't be surprised if he hits the open market. How many more years has he signed for? I mean, he signed for this one, I think 2 more, I believe.
He had an 8-year deal,
right.
I believe.
Right. I mean, I don't think
he might be 4 seasons in.
Right. I don't disagree with Frank. I actually thought about that the other day. It actually cropped up into my crazy head somehow that maybe one of the. I mean, you never know what's going to go on in the hockey world. And Stu, you and I have talked about this. We don't know what's in Zito's head. And for all we know, and this is crazy. I know that this is crazy, but we could wake up and Ekblad got traded, and then we could sign Weegar and Marchment, or Weegar and Giroux. And I know it's crazy talk, but
who's going to take Ekblad if he's injured?
Well, I was talking like this offseason.
He's constantly injured.
Well, that's the thing, right? But he's only 7.5. So I mean, when you think about what Weegar's going to be wanting, One Bad Steve with the $5, man. Thank you, sir. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. He says Bennett only had 49 points last year. He played on the same line as a 115-point player. By the way, expendable. He only had 5 more points than Weegar. He's above. We're loaded at center. We'll put it that way. What somebody said up above, or I think it was you, Bennett's on a really friendly deal, but that's also very tradable. But I think I would want to see Anton Lundell get bigger. And I think somebody had asked about, one wild and crazy guy said, do you think some of the issues is our skinnier guys might need to beef up? Lundell for sure needs to get bigger. But at some point, I would not, Barkov, Lundell, Luosterainen, that ain't bad either, right? There's so many damn moving parts. And
I'd like to see Lundell play with Barkov. The thing is, Lundell would have to transition to wing.
Right.
But it could be done. But those guys have great chemistry. I mean, look at the power. Right. I mean, the penalty kill.
Penalty kill. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Right.
David says you don't think Bob would waive for Ovi. No. Bob is not waiving his no trade. He's making $10 million. I've said this on the videos. He's making $10 million. He's got his family, and they're living in, paradise.
Yeah, the only way.
Where's he gonna go? To Buffalo? To Edmonton? No. To the cold,
yes,
snowy
Edmonton.
weather?
Yes, Bob and Uyghur to Edmonton. It's gonna happen. I'm just gonna get the shirt and make it happen. Mike says nobody wants to help the Panthers and their cap problems. Dubas facilitated his cap a little in the Mrazek deal, but it cost the first. I know. Yeah, that was something we was talking about with Alex Puck Monkey yesterday. The cost to get rid of some of this cap space because of the flat cap, basically, is it's bad. And that's probably what Zito was going through if he's trying to make any deals yesterday. We don't have assets to give up, right? And Hornquist, as much as we love him, for it's still 5.3 for a $4 million, for a fourth line player. There's not a big market for that. So I have a feeling if we can somehow make Marchment work. I mean, even if Marchment's going to take 3, somebody's got to go. Yeah. Somebody's got to go, and I would hate to see them have to buy out Hornquist.
Me too.
But there's just not much left unless you're going to trade a guy that, unless you're going to trade somebody that nobody's expecting you to trade, of Verhaeghe or something like that, somebody that's making a couple of bucks. But at that point, you still are in a position of losing one guy to gain another, and it's just no real way to know for sure, how that would turn out. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. You're going to play that all day long. So, I says there's 3 years left on Ekblad, so that's good. Steve,
wow, Edmonton has something crazy right now, like 25 mil. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's why I'm telling you. That's why. I mean, I know if he didn't have the no move clause, it'd be a lot more possible. But why would Bob say, unless he really wants to win more than anything? It's tough.
I will say this
Go ahead.
About the Edmonton. Thinking about it now, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Darryl Nurse. So they need goaltending. Obviously, Mike Smith just, 41-year-old goalie ain't cutting it. The question is, again, would Bob waive? But I like Bob and Uyghur.
Right.
To Edmonton. Who would we get back? They're not trading Darnell Nurse.
No. It depends on what. Either we'd get a pick back, or what you have to get something back on return, obviously. But if you're trying to get Edmonton to take on both salaries, they might have to do something like, because I know Duncan Keith is supposed to. I think he's supposed to retire. Alex,
he retired.
Did he already officially retire?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was announced the night of the draft.
Okay, because I was going to say we could take on his salary, but if that's already done, then it's a done deal. Rick says if the Panthers have an abundance of centers, maybe possible deal with the Rangers looking for a number 2 center. We already gave them for Toronto. I think we're done making the Rangers better. Right? That's a team that's going to be right, last thing we want to do is trade Bennett to the Rangers, and there he is kicking our ass in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mike says one step forward and two steps back. Talent in a nutshell. Right, right. Oh,
Oh, there you
Nerfel.
go. There's your boy. Schmidt
Yeah.
can replace Hornquist on the fourth.
I mean, I
Listen, I
do.
guess I gotta put personal feelings aside because at the end of the day,
Right,
nothing personal, it's business. So as much as I want to keep Hornquist, and I think there would be a big hole as far as leadership,
right.
if we get it, excuse me, if we, get the right guy, then it's worth it. Draft pick is not enough for me. It's gotta be a player.
Right. Oh well,
And it
it would give
brought
us
Giroux at 3 goals and 20 assists in 18 games. Is that away, huh? Yeah. Listen, it would be great to sign Giroux, and again, I think he would want to come back one more year to see how it goes. Question is, what is he going to sign for? This guy got $8 million
right,
at
right.
Philly.
I mean, even if
You know,
he
I,
said
I, I, I said six the other day, but still.
even if he was going to take five, where, right? I mean, what are you going to do? You'd have to get somebody to take. You'd have to get somebody to take Hornquist's full salary. So, which that's going to cost us an asset. We don't have any picks, so now we're going to have to give up a player, right? So now you got to give up a player and Hornquist to clear the space just for Giroux, and you still don't get to keep Marchment. I don't see it. I think that I just don't
Well,
see
Bobrovsky,
it.
we would get McDavid and Draisaitl.
Right? Steve says if we give Edmonton Bob and Uyghur, realistically, they would have to give us McDavid for a stud like Weegsy. I mean, I'll make the deal. Sure, why not? Jeez. Oh, yeah, no one wants to go to Edmonton, right? Oh yeah, Rick says they're not planning on keeping Vetrano, eh?
Really, Rick? Where'd you
Really?
hear that?
He seems
Toronto was really good on that line
yeah,
with Jinajad and what's his name?
right. And Frank
Brain
only
fart.
you saying Pulivari only 1.7 hit? Which role are you talking about? Steve says Drew's already rich. He can play on an $800,000 salary.
Well, that's Steve. That's what I was saying about the 6 million. When what's another million or two? What's another 2 million to these guys? They're smart athletes.
Right.
Hockey players, they don't get bling. They don't get 16 Lamborghinis. They don't buy 3 houses like you got football players and basketball players. So, but he's not going to play for 800,000.
Nerful, is that what the buyout is? You buy him out. We'd only have one. We'd save $4 million. That seems awfully high, but I guess you check that on Cap Friendly. I mean, if
The
that's
thing that's killing us this year is the 5.4 for Yandel.
for Yandel too, right? Yeah. No, I know. It's just Talon really. Okay, so Eyes, you're saying Vetrano's testing the market. Well, that's not real. I mean, he's in such a good position there in New York. He's a guy that needs the right players around him to be successful. I think
Yep.
that's a bad move on his part.
You have a coach that exclusively works on power plays. Maybe that's a dumb question.
Do we?
Well, Burnett
yeah.
was the power play guy under Quenneville. So
Yeah.
I wish, and it's a name that you don't hear now. This year, for whatever reason, he wasn't on the NHL Network, but I happen to love Scott Stevens.
Yeah.
I think he would make a great assistant coach.
Eyes is saying someone will overpay for Vetrano. I mean, I suppose that's true. He's never really had a big payday, so I guess,
Yeah, I keep Cop over Vetrano.
right. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I saw that too, right? Um, Frank
Ottawa
said,
can give him more money. Steve, why would he stay here? Yeah, I mean, isn't Giroux from Ottawa? So, you got Tavares going home to Toronto. So that's possible.
all right, so I says if we buy out Hornquist, we save 3.5. So if you buy out Hornquist, you could buy Marchment. I mean,
Giroux's got to take a pay cut if he wants to win like we. Yeah, I agree. I
but
agree with
the
that,
NHL
Mr.
doesn't work
Mano.
like that though. You can't rip up the contract and write a new one. I asked that question to somebody a couple of years ago. Even if the guy wants to, like with Luongo, they can't rip up the contract and say and sign a new one. They're not allowed to do that. So he has like, and we can't like buy him out and then re-sign him. There's nowhere around that. It's unfortunately can't do it. But now the buyout. So like what Ayers is saying, 3.5. I'm sure if we did that, okay, then we can, that would give us enough money to sign Marchment, and then we're just trading Marchment for Hornquist, and then I think it was Nerful or somebody else might have said, one of these guys, and I've been talking about that too. Like I said, Schwint for the fourth line. At some point, we will need our draft picks to start coming up and making the team and contributing. And when I say that, I mean the draft picks that aren't first round picks. At some point, we've got to have a couple of these guys come up and and make the team. Carl's good. Good.
No, I'm gonna throw out a wild one to everybody, and I'd like to get comments. You ready for this one? Huberdeau for Patrick Kane.
What's Kane's numbers? I mean, what's his salary number?
I think he's making 10.
Ugh.
Well, that's what Huberdeau's gonna get.
Right. Right.
Chicago's dumping, and I got news for you. Kane probably wants out of that situation.
Right.
They trade Hagel. They trade DeBrincat. I mean,
know.
what a
Right.
dumb effing move.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense what they're doing.
Fleury's gone.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, so what do you guys think about that?
We got a couple of no's.
For Patrick Kane straight. I don't know.
We got
how
no, and nah, and a LOL. Your trade offer was rejected.
All right.
And Sergei Bobrovsky gave you a smile, a frown.
Oh, you know what? For the guys that said no, tell me why.
Right. Hey, Frank. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's see. Frank
Eyes
says.
of night. Kane making 10.5. Well, Huberdeau's going to get 10 mil.
Right. So
Straight up trade.
So Frank says, is there a scenario we can buy out Hornquist and some other team picks him up, then puts him on waivers, then we pick him up for cheap? I don't think so. I don't I don't know about that, but I know every other loophole I've looked into is closed. So I don't think that could happen.
Okay, so everybody's shooting me down.
Yeah, no, they didn't like that move.
Frank says Huberdeau for Patrick Laine. All right.
Right.
Maybe. Barkov and Laine?
Yeah. Here's another one for you, Stu. Says Nerful says Kane is in the last year of his contract, so Huberdeau as Kane is older and Hubie just had a career season. Right. Yeah, I mean with the salary.
Listen, it was just an idea. I didn't I didn't remember how old Kane was, but Kane's a proven playoff guy.
Yeah, Steve says Kane's 33. 33. Yeah, I mean
okay.
that's pretty much. I mean Hornquist is Giroux's 34. Right?
Okay.
So
Steve's coming up with these stats for us. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, Steve's on the ball, man. Steve. That's why I pay him the big bucks to be the mod.
Oh, there you go, David. I would take Kane, but not for Huberdeau. Kane for Hornquist, Bennett, and Reinhardt. No, I don't do that deal.
Yikes!
I don't give up Bennett and Reinhardt. Sorry.
Yeah, no, not Reinhardt. I mean, I Bennett.
Would you trade Lindell?
Would I trade Lundell?
Hornquist and Patrick Kane.
I don't
Hornquist and Lindell for Patrick Kane.
know
I mean,
any trade that
33 is
involves
not really old. They got at least 3 more years.
and any trade that involves the name Lundell and doesn't involve the name McDavid coming back is a no for me. And I know that that's not an even trade, but that's all. There's no to Lundell, just no. Lundell is Barkov with swagger. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's just no way, man. That kid is gonna be a beast, right?
Bob and Hoobie to the Oilers.
Let's see. Nerful had tried to get this one in before. He says, we go on the West Coast California trip only the second month into the season, and in the first week in November, then are on West Coast Canada and Seattle, Vegas in the last week in November, so we need a strong start. Yeah, no, I'm, it's a good point. All you're saying without Duke, right? That's a good point. It's a good point. We're going to need a stronger start. Not a stronger start. I don't think we're not going to have the start that we had last season. I'm just interested in getting in. Get me into the top 3 because screw the President's Trophy.
Absolutely.
It's just I want none to. They could raise the banner. Yay, that's nice. I don't want to ever see that damn thing again. You
Yep.
know.
And they're gonna raise the banner. Big whoop.
Right.
Don't mean shit.
Yeah. We should have at least been raising Eastern Conference champion banner.
All right, so everybody's in agreement. Lundell is too valuable at the center position. He's the future. We all agree on that.
Yeah, Steve, I wasn't saying Lundell is worth McDavid. I said specifically he's not, but that is the only. If I'm GM and they say Lundell, that's the only name I'm willing because that would be a lopsided deal, obviously a little bit.
Hey, Mike, Chicago will move Kane if Kane says, I want to trade.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's 10.5. I mean, how about this? Hey, I got it. Even swap. Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky for Kane. We'll leave it. We'll take it. We'll throw in Uyghur. Bobrovsky.
Esoteric Vera, I will be happy to make it in
That doesn't
this
help
coming
us.
year.
Yeah, that doesn't help our
Yeah,
salary
listen.
cap situation, though.
Tampa played it good. Colorado even played it good. They didn't want the curse of the President's Cup.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Right. Rick says, what do we think of Pittsburgh giving Letang 6 and 36 at 30? I have no idea. Like I said earlier in the stream about Boston and Washington trying to keep that window open.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So that's a buyout after 2-3 years.
Well, and if you look at the age of their core, though, they're probably thinking they've got maybe 2 years left of being able, they've been on that edge of almost too old here for a little bit. But yeah, they're going to be, when that core is done, they're going to be in a bad situation. They're going to be in a full rebuild,
David Malkin gets hurt too much.
Yeah. He's older too now, right? I mean,
yeah.
These guys are in their mid-30s.
Yep.
Yeah, John Carlos says Weegs and Bob for Kane. I'm in. Frank says, I think Zito will wait to see what Kemper and Campbell will get to see where Bob's value is at. That way, maybe we can retain less than the 50%. Yeah. Yeah.
How about Bobrovsky for the Kraken goalie? I'm assuming you're talking about Drieger. Mike, there's no reports that says Kane wants out of Chicago. Would have made news already. They just moved to Brinket. Kane wants to retire Hawk. Okay.
Yeah. Look, I think
just gonna. I think Taze is gonna retire.
Right.
I mean, I just don't. I mean, just think about all the players that Chicago has traded over the last few years.
Right.
I mean, maybe Kane just takes his money and keeps his mouth shut and does his best. But you're right. A player that's been there forever has roots there. Their family. I don't know what Kane's, family situation is, but like the same thing with Bob. These guys, they don't make a move without their wife and they're
Yeah.
given the green light. I
Yeah.
really don't think that they do.
Well,
Happy wife, happy life.
yep. That is the truth, man. Let's see. Mike says, whatever happens, we can't just fall off a cliff and miss the playoffs. Montreal fans will be more insufferable than usual. I don't think we're going to miss the playoffs. We may have an interesting start. We got it. This is 6 coaches in 6 years, and we also. I mean, if we got Bobrovsky back, we're going to have stability back there. But if somehow we get rid of Bobrovsky, you never know. Spencer Knight. I mean, look at Carter Hart in Philadelphia. They thought he was all locked and loaded and ready to go and be a full-time guy. He looked great. And then when he got the job, he didn't look so good anymore. So I don't think that's going to happen with Knight. He's shown us he can play 4 or 5 games in a row and continue to improve. But that we may not be coming out of the gate next season the way we were this season. We're going to have some kind of a different system, because you heard Maurice talking about how it's great. I don't want to change the offense too much, but we also need to, get accustomed to and practice playing, that secondary style, because come playoff time, it doesn't work what we were doing during the regular season. And the other
If I'm Maurice, I emphasize defense.
Yeah.
Let the offense, fall into place. Here's a good one. Giancarlo Perez. Can't wait to see how things play out in Philly. D'Angelo and Torts reunion.
Yes.
I do not like D'Angelo.
No.
As a person, he's a piece of shit. As a player, he's good. But I'm wondering why Carolina got rid of him.
They're doing some weird
Ask
weird
yourself
stuff.
that question. He was a good player for them.
Yeah. Mike wants to know the thoughts on Kaprizov being held in Russia. Imagine he won't be able to play for the Wild next season.
Really?
Yeah. They're.
I didn't hear that story. What's up?
I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw a blurb. I didn't read the story, but I believe they're forcing him to enlist.
Really?
That's the headline to the story that I saw. I did not read the story, but that's what the headline was. Frank with another $5. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, buddy. All right, he says, we don't think we need another superstar. We have enough offense even without Drew. And if we do get one, I'd rather it be a defensive superstar, and there's none. We agree, Frank. Drew is such a luxury. I don't want us to lose anybody to sign Drew. Marchment, yes. Drew, no. Defensively, Mackenzie Weegar may end up coming back simply because the cupboard is kind of bare for the Panthers. We don't have any real top defensive prospects. And we don't have any picks either. So maybe a situation where, and the more I think about it, the longer this goes on, the more I think about it. I mean, seriously, if we could save $3.5 million, the odd man out, Hornquist, I don't want it.
How much do you think Klingberg's gonna want? Steve, maybe you can pull that up.
Right.
I also like Dumba from Minnesota. I always like that kid. Don't know if we can afford him or.
So I says Kaprizov was denied entry into the USA. Okay. Yeah, and that kind of is why I was talking about with Mammon leaving. It's just like, you got to really want to go to that part of the world right now. He must have family there, which there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. Nerfel says no matter what Maurice does with the lines, Verhaeghe needs to still be with Barkov. I agree, 100%.
I agree.
Yep. One Bad Steve with the 10. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Thank you. If you guys keep this up, Stu's going to make me start splitting the money with him. So Steve says, I did a lot of scouting last season. If Paul Maurice can get this guy's head on his shoulders, Get rid of his recklessness with the puck. This guy named Mackenzie Weegar could be a good pickup. Thoughts?
I agree.
All right.
Look what Pittsburgh did with Matheson. So you're right.
Right.
You're right. If Maurice puts the hammer down on Weegar and says none of this bullshit where you're stick handling,
Right.
Trying to get through three guys, that those days are over. You're going to concentrate on defense, and you're going to cover your men in the crease, and you're going to do a much better job with puck moving decisions.
Right.
In other words, no blind passes, no cross ice passes that get intercepted.
And I think also he should tell Weegar he's only allowed to do the weather with Weegar reports on a game after he's either allowed no goals or scored a goal. He has to play for pay. Or pay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But Steve, to your point, it's not a bad point. It's not a bad point because we have talked about that with Matheson, how he got coached up differently and improved in Pittsburgh. It's not a bad point. I sure wish. Well, I guess we kind of do have another year, and maybe, we don't have to extend him right now. He's not. We could give him the year and say, earn it. Show us you cannot make those. Show us that you can improve and cut down on the mistakes. That could happen. Of course, that's a gamble because if he does it, then he's going to be worth more money.
Hey, listen to this, Pragawaga. Okay, this is funny. You have to say that Weegar has to know what the criticism of his play are. Okay? Yeah, Weegar was watching our videos.
Right. Steve, another 5. Holy crap. I'm going to be rich by the end of this. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. So Steve says we need a better example than Matheson, Stu. I know like 20 Penguin fans in real life who all hate him. He had 4 own goals in the playoffs. Well,
listen, I was just saying what Eric's been saying.
When I talked,
that wasn't me.
No.
I still think he sucks. Eric said
when I talked to the guy that did the Pittsburgh Penguin videos multiple times during the season, he said that the fans. This was in the first half of the season. He said that the fans liked Matheson, but they thought he was a little bit too defensive and wasn't offensive enough, which was really odd for me to hear about Matheson. But I mean, we were agreeing with you, and now you're destroying your own point. We were agreeing with you about Weegar. You finally got Stu and I to agree with you about Weegar.
Eyes of Night, I think, answered the Kaprizov question. They're saying he still owes military service. Here's a good one.
Okay.
From Nerful.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll stop the stupid drop pass with Maurice at coach now?
Please.
I think I say it every time. Right. I hate the drop pass.
Right.
For every team in the league. Because every team in the league does that.
Yeah. David's asking says we haven't spoken about Sherratt. You think he's still staying? And we have about $700,000 available. Every time I say that I would like Sherratt to stay, I get slammed. So, I guess if we keep Weegar, there would be no Sherratt, right?
I like Sherratt and Carlson. Mike says Carlson should be a full-time player. I like that combo with Montour.
Yeah.
I think Eric and I were both disappointed that he wasn't playing.
Right.
And again, I think Weegar should have been benched one game. I mean, after the
3.8 seconds.
Cap series and what he did in Toronto.
Right.
And Carlson should have came in and they could have moved things around.
Right. So Sweeze says, I think we need more hard-nosed guys who are proving themselves successful in the playoffs. We seem way too soft against Tampa, who were pushing us all over the place, especially our forwards. Yep. And that's a thing that happens to Barkov. Let's see.
Yeah.
Eyes. So how many goals does Owen Tippett get next year in Philly? 12.
21.
20. Stu is higher on Tippett than I am. I'm being conservative. I'm not getting thrown under the bus there again.
No. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. I don't think he's going to make an impact in Philly. Sorry.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens between him and Torts. Just put it that way. John Carter, what's up with Nut of VAR? Is he ever coming back? Not sure.
Wait, Mike says Sherrod is gone per inside sources.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's no money. There's no money for him. We can't even sign the players we got.
Oh, here's my favorite player, Giancarlo Perez. What's up with New Navarro? Is he coming? The Ghost? New Navarro?
Yeah.
The Ghost? No,
No.
he ain't coming back.
No.
I would bet the farm on that. Where he never played this year.
Esoteric says we could use a guy like Connaughton right now. You were not a fan of Sherrod. It didn't work out. It didn't, like giving up a first. That was I don't mind the Giroux deal that we did. But the way it worked out, giving up a first for Sherrod was a swing and a miss.
Yep.
What's definition? Hey, True, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, guys, we're slowing down here. We're gonna get ready to wrap this up in a couple of minutes. Mike
Owen
says,
Tippett will get 15 goals, 10 times benched, and 22 times getting screamed at by Torts. Mike, I think you're a little low on the 22 times screamed by Torts.
"Oh man, True says you have
Hey, True.
Hey, True, you got a jersey, you got a Thornton jersey pin. Oh man, I'll take that. I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah, what's up with Joe? Do we sign Joe?
With what? We're gonna pay him in peanuts. We can pay him we can pay him by letting him have an opportunity to be on our reviews. That's what they have left to offer.
How long is Forsling locked in for? He signed a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
On Carlo.
Yeah, he's not. We're good there, but that's another guy that at some point, money wise, is going to be a thing. And yeah, Rick Torts and D'Angelo Philly are going to be fun this year. Absolutely. And last thing, Nerful says, imagine out of nowhere Zito is just like, we just signed out of VAR and we'll be letting Marchman and Drew walk. No, that's not. We don't have Dale Talon. We definitely don't have Dale Talon. So Steve says, can we address how dumb Barkov's contract was already?
You guys are funny. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think that's where we'll end it. I think that's where we're going to end it. We really appreciate everybody showing up, especially since we were a little bit late. I had done all my tests, so I'll have to figure out what the hell. I mean, I know how to do this, obviously, but I had not tested it before going to a stream that I had already created. So I'll get that figured out, and we'll Nerful, good chance of us doing another one next week. What we got? Let me look at the schedule because we have free agency. I think on the 13th starts. So
thanks for all the questions and comments. Hey guys, hit the like button.
Yep.
Help Eric out. If you're not subscribed to the channel, he's got 2.2440.
Yeah. We're closing in on 2,500. So
yeah,
we're getting
it. You guys should all hit the like button. I mean, it was a lot of fun. We had 30 people.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we got 30 people right now. It was definitely good. It was definitely good for a summer thing. So we'll keep it going, guys. We'll absolutely keep it going. Appreciate all the support, and you guys watch me struggle to end this thing. This will be fantastic. Don't look at the screen. You're gonna get blinded. I haven't figured out how to add bumpers yet, so don't give me any garbage. All right, let's end the stream. Stop streaming.